Oh, yeah. With the Phillies win yesterday, does Zach believe in the Phillies? Or are the Phillies, do they have a chance? And it's Cowboys week. That means we're talking Eagles. We're talking Cowboys. Monday night, we might be here. And finally, the Ryder Cup is underway. Find out who we got winning. More than Philly in the house. Let's get it.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the More Than Philly Sports Network. We are happy to be here with you today, the 23rd of September in 2021, 4:05 p.m. on the East Coast. I am stoked to be here with all of you today. There's a lot to go over. Listen, Tuesday was not fun. I'll admit it. It was good to be here, but there was not a lot of fun things to break down. We are talking about a team in the Philadelphia Phillies, 2-game winning streak, 3 games out in the division. We're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles against their arch rivals, the Dallas Cowboys this week, and Team USA in the Ryder Cup. We are locked and loaded. It's visor season, Team USA all the way. And as always, joined alongside my co-host, Gavin Tony. It is great to be back with you, sir, on this fine Thursday. Not so fine outside. It is pretty crappy out, to be honest with you. Walking around classes this morning was not fun. My thin fabric sweatshirt does not work in rain. You need to have like those beeswax materials where the water just kind of gets off the side. Anyway, bottom line is we are here. We are ready to go. I'm ready for it. I got the energy. Gavin, I know you do as well. We have a lot to break down today. Welcome back. Great to be here. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Zach. I didn't have to walk outside in this mess that's going on. I actually got to stay in the comfort of my own home today and watch the storm roll by. But listen, Zach, I got to ask you. It's almost October. Is it me? Did 2021 just fly by? Or is that just me?
I don't know where it went. I think from March to now, pretty much when we got back in person in high school, at least for me. Since then, it's kind of been a pretty quick year altogether. It feels like we were just here last year talking about the Eagles. Of course, our end of year review, trying to get some of the top moments from the year, which we have to get up on. We got to start yelling on this show a little more. There hasn't been too much to yell about, but we'll get back to it. We'll get the energy. Gavin, you drank some coffee today for the first time in a while. Maybe you have some energy back that we've been missing. But in all seriousness, there's a lot to talk about because this is the best time of the year, in my opinion. The leaves are just starting to fall, which for some people they like it, some people they don't. The legitimate side of it is it's pretty crappy to be walking around leaves and whatnot. But it's about the sign. Number one, it is fall. Officially, our last show was the last show of the summer. Welcome to the best season of the year. It is autumn. Schools are back underway. It is college football season. It's football season. It is time for regular football. It is the fall classic, the baseball playoffs. It is the beginning of the new season in the PGA and every other year, the Ryder Cup, which is occurring this week. And it's also time for fall golf where you don't have to be sweating your ass off the entire time. And be chugging a lot of water. I'm excited for it. For those of you who keep track of us,
right there.
For those of you who keep track of us on the golf adventures, myself and my friend James, who is currently up at Penn State, he will be back soon to visit, and we will be playing 36 holes. So sooner than later, we will be back out there. That's a little bit of a surprise for the near future. Maybe we'll get a golf vlog associated with our More Than Philly Sports Network. We got a lot of stuff moving on. The season is starting to slow down. We're pumping the brakes a little bit. With school up, with routines all set and everything, we're able to figure out some more things, some more awesome content to provide. That's why it's my favorite time of the year. As you can tell, I'm very energized today. But here's the bottom line. It is the end of September. It is not common that the MLB season bleeds into October, at least for the regular season. But this year it is. And the Philadelphia Phillies have the most pivotal 10 games of the last decade, 10 games in the last 10 years. Everything comes to these last 10 games, starting tonight, possibly. There's a chance that tonight's game is canceled with the rain and weather and whatnot, which would make it a doubleheader. Tomorrow is Pittsburgh, probably at 4 o'clock, and then start immediately after. So either way, scrap that for a minute, assuming they play tonight. There are 10 games left this season for the Phillies. 10 games. Another win last night. Again, this Phillies team has some habits to it. One of those habits, which has been consistent all year long, they get ice cold at the plate. They still won 2 of 3 in a series where they were ice cold at the plate. Yes, it is the worst team in baseball in the Baltimore Orioles, and there's no excuse. But no matter how the Phillies win, a win is a win in the record book. Today, at this moment, on September 23rd, 2021, the Philadelphia Phillies have a better record than the San Diego Padres. the same record as the Cincinnati Reds. Just to put it in perspective of how bad of a year we might think the Phillies have had, 33 blown saves. You cut that in half, the Phillies are easily in first place in the division. That was my argument last year. When I said that the Phillies were going to make the playoffs, which I said back in March on this show, and I doubled down, tripled down. For some reason, I've continued to fight and be part of this team. They've gotten hot at certain times this year. All I said was they have to be just a % less bad of a bullpen as they were last year. They blew my mind because they got even worse. This bullpen has been horrible all year long. If it wasn't for Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins, and JT Realmuto, who's honestly been on a hot streak as of late after I said that we should have even re-signed him a few days ago. Maybe we woke him up. And Zach Wheeler. That is the only reason this team is still in contention. But I'll tell you this. In the beginning of this year, if we said the Phillies are going to miss the playoffs, what would you do? Some people would have talked about trading JT and Bryce in the offseason. Some people would have started talking about a rebuild in Philadelphia, considering how bad the farm system is. There's no need for that. JT's got 4 years left on his deal. Harper's got 11 or 10. Rhys has a couple years left before we have to make a big decision with him. But at this moment, if we want to look forward for a minute, all the Phillies have to do in the offseason is continue to find some gems in free agency for the bullpen, work on the pitching staff a little bit, and just draft better and start acquiring some more farm system assets and then build off of what they've done this year. There's a lot to look forward to. 33 saves should not happen again next year, or 33 blown saves should not happen again next year. But let's pump the brakes on all of that for a minute because the Phillies are still in contention. All I said, Gavin, the number I've been saying for the last few weeks, 2.5 games going into that Brave series. The Phillies have to be 2.5 games or less out in that Brave series to remain mathematically in it. But that would mean they have to sweep. I'd like to see the Phillies at 1.5 and win 2 of 3 against Atlanta. I don't know how the rotation is looking. I'm going to go to my trusty app here and figure out who's going to be pitching in those games because the rotation should line up nicely if I'm not mistaken. But Joe Girardi is going to have a lot to do. You want to see how good this baseball team is? We're going to find out because you are playing 7 games against very inferior opponents and 3 against a team that is relatively equal to you. And those 7 are against the Pirates for 4, Marlins for 3, and the Atlanta Braves for 3. All right? Tonight, Aaron Nola goes. Tomorrow, Gibson goes. Suarez the next day. Going to be a bullpen game on Sunday. And then going into next week, the first game against the Braves is Zach Wheeler, most likely Aaron Nola on Wednesday, and most likely Kyle Gibson on Thursday. Those are 3 games that you have to come away with at least 2 of them. But before any of that can happen, the Phillies need to pick up 1 to 2 more games on the Atlanta Braves. If we look at the MLB standings, and again, we've done this all year long, all right, the Braves have played 150 games. That means that they have 12 games left. The Phillies have played 152. So that's a 2-game makeup, which means that there could be a whole nother game the Phillies could gain or lose during that time period. And again, the schedule for the Phillies, we've already talked about it. Right now, the Diamondbacks and the Braves are playing. All right. At this moment, it's the middle of the second. There's no score. Madison Bumgarner versus, I believe, Charlie Morton. Yes, Charlie Morton. So ace against ace pretty much. You can call Bumgarner what you want. But starting tomorrow, for the next 3 games, the Atlanta Braves play the San Diego Padres. All right. And then they play the Philadelphia Phillies. And then they play the New York Mets. There's a lot of things that can go in the Phillies' favor right now, but 3 games is a lot to overcome. So all the Phillies can do is keep winning. I'm not going to sit here and play devil's advocate. I will tell you this. On Monday, if we can find some time to get on here, whether it's going to be Eagles pregame, postgame, halftime, whatever, we will have to talk about this because starting on Tuesday is the Phillies-Braves series. And those 3 games, all starting at 7:20 on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, is going to define this season. And the Phillies need to come out of there in first place for a chance. I mean, there's a chance to come out of there half game, 1 game back. Yeah, the Mets could take 2 of 3 or all 3 against Atlanta, and the Phillies could crush the Marlins. But we don't want to worry about that. We don't want to play what if. The Phillies still have a chance to control their own destiny. So they need to do that. They do. Not us, the fans. Start to watch them. The Phillies need to do what's best. If Joe Girardi wants to keep his job, if this team wants to show what they're made of, they do it. And again, most blown saves in the MLB this year. Massive regression on the right side of the infield. Left side of the infield. Injury to your home run leader to be out the season. McCutchen, who's been hitting the ball home runs well, is only batting in the 230s, 220s. A unstable center field position. Regression from what was the best catcher in baseball. A rough month from a Cy Young contender. A huge regression from your thought of ace. And they're still in the running. What does that tell you about this team? I don't know. We can talk about this in a minute about weak division. Sure, they're only 4 games above 500, and in any other division, they're not going to have a chance to win it. However, if you go to MLB.com, which I've probably done way too much, wild card is another way of indicating how good a team is. The Phillies are 4.5 back in the wild card. They're tied with the Reds for 1 spot out. Right now, it's the Dodgers and the Cardinals, which I'll say right now, the Cardinals would beat the Dodgers in a 1-game playoff right now because the Cardinals are red hot, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. They've won 11 straight. But right now, the Phillies are the 3rd best team in the wild card race. All right, and that includes the Padres behind them, the Mets behind them, and then the Colorado Rockies on the fringe of elimination are somehow making a late push this year just to have a respectable record. But I think it's important that we understand, despite all the mishaps, this Phillies team finds a way to win games. I don't know how they do it. Actually, I do know because the Phillies are 34-37 against teams above 500. That's better than the Cardinals. That's better than Atlanta. It's better than pretty much every wild card team, if you look at it. It's even better than the Chicago White Sox, who just clinched their division today. The Phillies hang around with the good teams. So I don't know why they can't put away bad teams. And that's you get some more consistent hitters in the offseason, you'll figure that out. But again, that Diamondback series is going to kill us. The previous Pirates series, all of the Marlins series, this coming Marlins series, and this coming Pirates series might also cost the Phillies. But they're that close of a team to hanging around with the big guys. I don't know why they can't do it on a consistent basis. But the bottom line is, even if they miss the playoffs this year, all hopes aren't lost, and we should be optimistic about this team in the future. It's their first year with their new general manager. It's their first year with their new philosophy, their second year with Joe Girardi. They get to even have a normal offseason with Joe Girardi as the manager. And for God's sakes, the man who was criticized in Philadelphia last year, Bryce Harper, he is going to be the NL MVP. Whether it matters or not to him, it's whatever. But there's a lot to look forward to for this Phillies team. My last comment, Gavin, a few weeks ago, we spoke about what makes an MVP, and you said an MVP is someone who is talked about almost every day. Every day, he does something different for his team. Fernando Tatis coming back from injury, putting up 2 home runs in that game. Bryce Harper this last week has become that. MLB's Instagram for 3 or 4 days straight now has posted about Harper. Last night was just an add-on with his assist from the outfield, which arguably saved the game. Again, to recap, so that Gavin up to speed, 78-74, final 10 games of the season. And once again, it is Philadelphia versus Atlanta, similar to basketball. Maybe this time Philly can get the last laugh. Gavin, off to you.
Well, the only difference is about this Philly versus Atlanta. At least we know there's going to be runs put up, and if we need someone to score, they're not going to dish it off to the next person. And I tried to throw a shot at Ben Simmons, Zach. It didn't work. But here, having said that, you're talking about a team that with all of the mishaps, whether your ace that's supposed to be ace is not an ace, the guy that we taught that on Roy Halladay's day, Zach, that you were there for, goes a complete game, has a horrible month of August. You're talking about a guy in Bryce Harper who's like, I have it right here, and you saw this post too. Bryce Harper comes into tonight with 94 runs, 39 doubles, 30 home runs, and 90 walks. Zach, you know what company he can join if he gets to 140, 30, and 100 season?
I think it was like 4 or 5 players that included Barry Bonds, Babe Ruth, and a few others.
Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, Barry Bonds, and Bobby Abreu. That's a nice company to join.
All the same company.
Exactly. This is his best year. And I'm not even talking about his Nationals MVP year. This is his best year. We talked about spending, $330 million, and you just earned all of that just right here, just off 1 year. Just off 1 year, he's earned it. And Zach, what makes MVP? You're right. Every day, and you're adding wins. All right, this team is adding wins when he has a great night. When he has an off night, this team doesn't do as hot. So let's talk about it. You need to win every game of this Pittsburgh series. All right, and Zach, I know the Braves go against the Padres next, and we know the greatest collapse in all baseball this year is how the Padres sold. Maybe you can argue the Mets as well, but the Padres were above 500 team, not anymore. Now they're just an average team. If you are the Phillies, you need to win. You need to sweep the Pirates. You need to. There's
no question about it.
You need to sweep the Pirates. So when you go against the Atlanta Braves, let's say the Atlanta Braves drop 2 out of that 4-game series they go against, or with however many games they go against. Let's say they drop 2 of them. At least you have a chance to be 2 games ahead. Or when the first pitch, you'll be 1 game behind. Zach, I know the math might be off, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say.
They can be. I mean, if let's say they find a way to lose today to Arizona and the Phillies win, they could be 2 games back. And then if the Phillies sweep and the Braves drop just 1 game in that Padres series, or if tonight they win and they drop 2 in that Padres series, the Phillies will be 1 game back in that case. They're right there. I mean, they're really right there. Two days from now, we could be singing a whole different tune. So arguably, that's kind of where you stand.
You're setting yourself up, Zach. It's all about the setup. You're right, Zach. You said this, I want to say on Tuesday, you said baseball is a marathon. It's not about how you start, it's how you finish. And Zach, this could be a great finish. It's the final lap. Zach, the ending.
26 mile.
26 mile. Look, I'll keep it short and sweet. You need to win this series. You need to sweep. You need to have a fair showing versus Atlanta. You need to do the majority method. For those who know what I'm talking about, that were here last year, for those who are new, the majority, if it's a 4-game series, you need to take 3. If it's a 3-game series, you need to take 2. You always have to at least outnumber the other team in the wins of the series. Zach, set yourself up. And then you go against the Marlins where all you have to do, Zach, and this is hard. All you have to do is go against the Marlins and win. And Zach, that's allergic. You can't ask them for them to win against the Marlins. Something about Miami, and I mean,
if they play it right, how it should go, if they get through the Braves series either on top or right there in that conversation, they should go Ranger Suarez and then go back to Zach Wheeler or Aaron Nola. That's how it should go.
No more bullpen games. No more.
There's gonna be 1 more in this Pittsburgh series, and hopefully,
but no more after this. No, if you are in it, I don't want to see another bullpen game no more.
All right, so I do want to I did pull up some advanced statistics here as far as save opportunities as opposed to saves. The Phillies are 7th in the league in save opportunities, and save opportunities are simply defined as appearances in which a pitcher entered a game to earn a save. The Phillies had 68 of these opportunities this year. 68 games they could have won in the 9th inning or a little bit earlier with those save opportunities. They capitalized on 35 of those. So if you can do the math, that's 33 blown saves this year. That is a 51% chance, which means going into a save opportunity, a Phillies pitcher only has a 51% chance of getting the save. The Atlanta Braves, on the other hand, 58%. They're 35 of 60. For a team like the Giants, who are going to be an outlier in this case, 66%, the Phillies need to get above that 56 to 58% margin. 58% would be, if I can do some quick math here, probably would add about 5 more wins to this team. If the Phillies had 5 more wins, if I go back to the standings here on the MLB's website, they would currently be 83 and 69, which would be enough to easily be in first place.
And
just 5 more saves, honestly. Just 5 more saves.
Zach, in this trash division, that would have went a long way. And then real quick, before we get into the division part, I just want to say this. For everyone that criticizes Joe Girardi and Zach, I mean, I always fall into defending Joe Girardi, so I always say it's not his fault. And I get pushback from peers and from everybody that says, well, he has to put his team in a better chance to win. These last 10 games right here, I need to see New York Joe Girardi. I need to see before they were irrelevant. I need to see the Joe Girardi that won the World Series Joe Girardi. I need to see that guy come out here and make the best decisions to put his team in possible. I want Joe Girardi to do so well that it's the team's fault they lost, not him. The team, meaning the pitching, meaning the hitters not showing up to the ballpark. I mean, Zach, Joe Girardi's taking a lot of criticism this year, more than I like to hear, because it's better. But it's hard to let Joe Girardi off the hook when you got your former manager and Gabe Kapler, who we were not fond of here, having one of his best managing seasons in a while.
I'd say the best team in baseball, the New York Giants, of course. Well, before we do transition over to talk of the NFL, let's talk about around the MLB. Let's see what's going on around the league right now. Right now, we're taking a look at the AL East. The Rays clinching their at least playoff spot. Again, 6 games ahead of both of the Red Sox, 8 games ahead of the Yankees, 8.5 above the Blue Jays, and I'll say it for fun, 45.5 games ahead of the Baltimore Orioles. But right now, the Rays' magic number is somewhere between 2 and 3 games. They pull off these next few games, and they're able to clinch that first place spot again. In the AL Central, the White Sox, with their win today, they just clinched their division. Again, you got the Cleveland Indians, which are now going to become the Guardians starting next year. Detroit Tigers, Kansas City Royals, and Minnesota Twins, who had a complete collapse this year. Astros have yet to clinch the division. Mariners are right there. I believe that the magic number is 2 or 1 with a Mariners loss tonight and an Astros win. They would clinch their division. And the Angels, 72 and 80. They had a chance at some point this year. They completely collapsed as well. And then going over to the NL East, of course, Braves currently sit atop the division, 10 games above 500. Phillies right there, 3 games back. Mets magic number is 1.5 technically. So Braves win and a Mets loss would eliminate the Mets from the playoffs. Marlins and Nationals already been eliminated. Brewers clinching their division. Cardinals 8.5 back. Actually not clinching their division. They are actually still, if they pretty much lose all but 1 game left for the Brewers, that is, and the Cardinals find a way to win out, the Cardinals would take first place, but Cardinals right now chasing that final wild card spot. They're in it right now. And then Giants, Dodgers, both clinching wild card spots. Dodgers 2 games ahead right now. Giants 2 games ahead right now, so it's going to be a close one. Padres pretty much almost out of it, 22.5 games back of the Giants. Rockies making a late push just to be respectable, 7-3 in their last 10, 71 and 80. And the Diamondbacks sit at the lowest, earning the first overall pick this upcoming offseason. That's how it stands. That's the current MLB standings. Not too much of a shocker. I think the Giants and Red Sox, 2 big shockers. Yankees are still trying to get back in that push. They've been in and out of it for a couple of months. But how about the Blue Jays? They have really made a late push here. There's arguably someone against Shohei Ohtani as a potential AL MVP. But right now, looking at that, half-game backers Toronto. I'd like to see a 1-game playoff between those 2 teams in order to go play the Red Sox in that 1-game playoff as well. That'll be exciting. And then finally, Gavin, before I hand it off to you, the Toronto Blue Jays run differential this year is plus 171. That is higher than the White Sox. That is almost as high as the Tampa Bay Rays. That is also substantially higher than the Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. So a good team to keep an eye on. And a couple other teams in that division to keep an eye on, Seattle and Oakland, 2 teams that are well above 500 who are most likely going to miss the playoffs, but they put in a good fight this year. AL clearly having a lot of strong outings. It's good to see some of these lower teams per Seattle, Oakland, being able to go out there and go good old Moneyball fashion. So before we transition over to football, Gavin, anything else on the Around the MLB section?
I got 2 problems. First of all, Zach, what happened to my Bronx Bombers? What happened to them? What happened to Aaron Judge? What happened to All Rise? What happened to everything? Zach, I'm going to come out and say this. Garrett Cole wasn't worth all the money they paid him. Just look at it. I mean, he hasn't been – he's not the fear factor that when he was with Houston, when he scared the hell out of the opponents when he was on the mound. Garrett Cole's like money average. And I have a problem with Aaron Boone, too, is now you're not even making the playoffs. You're not making the playoffs, perhaps. Now, to go to your Toronto point, Zach, Toronto's going to be a scary team in the future for real. I mean, they're building something special there with Vladdy Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, Biggio, Hernandez, Simeon, and the crew. But Zach, another thing I want to touch to, and you said this earlier in baseball talk, is you think the Cardinals would beat the Dodgers in a playoff, in a wild card game?
Right now, they would. Adam Wainwright versus Walker Buehler or Max Scherzer. I think that'd be a really good game. The Cardinals are red hot right now.
If Mad Max steps onto the mound versus adding old Wainwright, I got the Dodgers easily. I really do. I like Aaron and I went out with back tightness last night. So you have to wait and see.
We're going to find out for sure. Finally, here to wrap it up, as Gavin mentioned, Garrett Cole, who has faded away from the favorite for the Cy Young. Robbie Ray of the Toronto Blue Jays is now the favorite at minus 265. And over to the MLB, Max Scherzer, a huge jump for him, has passed Corbin Burns as well as teammate Walker Buehler, minus 210. Zach Wheeler plus 2750. At one point was looking pretty good there. Aaron Nola, believe it or not, is still above Julio Urias and Joe Musgrove for the Cy Young odds. People kind of felt he had a good year. A lot of strikeouts this year for Nola. Just had a lot of bad outings and bad breaks here and there. But with all that being said, baseball talk continues next week. Most pivotal 4 games coming up for the Phillies going into that final series against the Braves and then, of course, against the Miami Marlins. So coming up after this, it is Dallas week, predictions and more for the Philadelphia Eagles against the Dallas Cowboys in Arlington. We will do Thursday night football predictions between the Carolina Panthers and the Houston Texans. Go around the NFL predictions for the weekend, and then finally write a complaint letter to the NFL because of how terrible their primetime games have been this season. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Stay tuned. We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode. Welcome back here on the More Than Phillies Sports Network. For those just tuning in, we just wrapped up our entire overview of how the MLB playoff outlook is looking, including for the Philadelphia Phillies. We're now going to switch over to the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, it is the rare month or so of the year that we get to talk about both teams at once. The Eagles coming off of a tough loss last week against a very good San Francisco 49ers team. They play Green Bay this weekend on Sunday Night Football. I expect them to beat Green Bay, so perhaps justifying some Eagles woes for you. Perhaps there's a chance that the Eagles bounce back this week and continue to look like a good team, but at the moment, there were a lot of question marks last week. There were a lot of concerns, but it's as I expected. It's what I call according to plan. I don't expect the Eagles to be a great team this year, 7-10, maybe 8-9. They can surprise me, but again, they're a young team. And unless, again, I'm going to bring up for the third time, Allen Robinson is going to continue to be a name that I mentioned, a veteran wide receiver who could add value to this team. That's the only position you need a veteran at, really. They'll eventually promote Jordan Howard when they realize they need a bully in the backfield. I'm waiting for that. O-line is already starting to deal with injuries, 8 weeks or so for Brandon Brooks, according to some reports today. So that's going to hurt them.
Oh, I didn't hear that. 8?
According to inside sources, Lane Johnson also speaking on the topic, it appears 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks appears to be the timeline for Brandon Brooks. So Landon Dickerson, who did not have the best week last week, will be starting at right guard this week. The rookie out of Alabama coming off a torn ACL, of course. So we're going to figure it out. It's a big matchup on Monday Night Football. Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles. Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, the first game that these two quarterbacks will be going head-to-head. The Eagles played the Cowboys once last year under the Jalen Hurts era, a big Deshaun Jackson touchdown, but of course that game really fell away quickly for the Eagles. I'll keep it plain and simple. I think the Eagles defense does a fine job in this game. I think they contain Zeke really well, but I still think Amari Cooper gets his. I think the CeeDee Lamb's able to do a good job as well. I'm going to go Dallas Cowboys are going to win this game by a score of 24-17. I think that the Eagles do get off to a comfortable start. They're able to hang in there, but I think the Cowboys just pull away late. And I think, again, rookie mistakes, maybe some key drops this week, maybe another bad play calling series, some bad decisions, some aggressiveness when you don't need it, some conservativeness when you need to be aggressive. Just the same stuff that a young team goes through. But once again, a close loss I expect for Philadelphia this week.
See, this is tough, Zach, because you know half of my family, they're Cowboys fans. So this is personal. All right, this gets serious. Me and Trent are already sending shots back at. No, I'm just playing. But look, it takes simple things, and I think the 49ers game, going back to last week, play calling. I told you, play calling was my biggest stressor in last week. There was no need to do the Philly special. All right, the Philly special is done over with. It doesn't need to be brought back to the city, especially now that you have a quarterback in Jalen Hurts that has to be respected as an athlete. You're not going to be able to get that off anymore. Having said that, Zach, you're going against a Dallas defense that still has a lot to prove. Michael Parsons looks like a top 10 defensive edge rusher already, and that's just after 1 week. I mean, I know the Chargers' offensive line is being built, but did you see him, Zach? I mean, poor Justin
I
Herbert.
did. He's been a big difference maker. He was a great pick for them in the first round.
Justin Herbert had to run around, but Zach, keep it simple. Play calling, don't do anything crazy. All right, you're getting your big plays, you're getting your big chunks when you need them. Jalen Hurts, I would like to see the accuracy go up better. I'd like to see running the football more with Miles Sanders, especially. I don't know if that's going to go down this week due to the fact that you don't have Brandon Brooks no more for a little while. And how about this, Zach? Ezekiel Elliott is not going to be the person to beat you. We know it. It's going to be Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is on another level right now. He had 100 yards versus the Chargers last week. There's some talks about him being a feature back. Zach, I'm not sure. I'm torn. As a city, my heart wants him to go Eagles, but I think I have to side with you this week. I'm going Cowboys 24-21 and a game-winning drive for the Cowboys.
Like I said, young teams that are talented lose to good teams by one possession. The Cowboys so far this year have shown some promise. They played the defending Super Bowl champions week 1. They played a team that's expected to be very good this year week 2, and they pulled off a big win. Dak Prescott in back-to-back games, potential game-winning drives, of course. Then Tom Brady was able to go down the field and flip the script. But the Cowboys have respect right now, as much as we hate to say it. But, you have to call balls and strikes, especially here when we're talking about playing the Eagles. So Eagles can surprise this week, certainly the underdogs. Let's see if they can take advantage of it in Arlington on Monday Night Football. With that being said, let's start going over some of the games this week. Take a few seconds for each team. Panthers Texans tonight. I'm going with Carolina. I think that they'll win this one pretty comfortably. Texans have a rookie quarterback going tonight. It's not going to be pretty.
Hold on a sec. First of all, before I even say anything about the game, can we stop putting? I mean, no one wants to watch this. I don't care. There's no Deshaun Watson. There's no Tyrod Taylor. Davis Mills, who's actually had a decent college career, Zach. Davis Mills versus Sam Darnold. I don't care, Zach. I'm going Panthers tonight. That's it.
Next game on our list here is the Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers. It'll be a close game, but at Arrowhead, coming off a loss for Kansas City, Mahomes' first ever loss in September. I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this one.
I'm going Chargers, Zach. I think Kansas City's been exposed. That defense is horrendous this year.
Quite possibly. Austin Eckler could have a good game. The running defense certainly is bad for Kansas City. It's going to be a punch-for-punch game. Wouldn't shock me if it goes into the 40s for both teams. Next game, Cardinals-Jags. Cardinals, no-brainer. Jags O-line just can't hold up. Trevor Lawrence starting to make a turn in his second week. But, again, that Cardinals defense is really good. And Kyler Murray's been playing on a good level to start the year.
I got Kyler Murray, Zach. I got the Cardinals this week, but I want to start this trend. Fire Urban Meyer. Just get him out of here. I don't want to see him no more.
2 weeks in already doing it. Bears and Browns in Cleveland. Justin Fields' first start did not look good at all last week, but first week getting full first-team reps. However, I'm going to still roll with the Browns. They've been good this year, and they're going to beat up on worse teams, I guess I'd say, and the Bears will definitely be one of those teams right now.
Zach, I'm going to buy into the hype for absolutely no reason. I'm going with the Bears this weekend. Something tells me Justin Fields is going to put Andy Dalton in the retirement this week.
Quite possibly. We're going to find out. Next game here on our list, Washington football team, Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. First home game for the Bills. Give me Josh Allen and the Bills. They had a really good bounce-back week last week, 35-0 shutout in Miami. I think they'll repeat similar success this week. But I'm looking forward to a good fight from Taylor Heineke and Washington coming off an exciting win last Thursday night.
Zach, I got Buffalo. The defense of Washington is what it should be. Zach, I'm actually going to go with a close game, though. I'm going 24-7. That's not close after. It started off close, but trust me, it's not.
Next game, Colts Titans. Carson Wentz yet to practice this week at all. Jacob Easton looking to be the starter this week. But I'm still going with either way, whoever starts at quarterback. I'm going with the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry coming off a good week. Once they get rolling, you can't really stop them in the midseason form.
Zach, I'm also going to join with the Titans. I got Derrick Henry with 200 yards rushing.
Yeah, Colts defense has not looked good to start the year at all. Saints, Patriots, give me New England. Bill Belichick's going to work his way for Winston to throw a few interceptions. Expect Najee Harris to have a big week. I think that's going to be their key to success.
I'm going with the Saints. Zach, Alvin Kamara, Jameis Winston. There's no way Jameis is going to come out and had another bad week. The offensive line was atrocious last week. I'm still not fond of Mac Jones and what he brings to the table yet. I got to see more. Zach, famous Jameis for me this weekend.
All right, we'll see. Winston not having a good week last week. Again, a lot of coaches out with COVID protocols, so just not the best preparations altogether. Falcons, Giants. Does this game have to happen? I'm gonna go Big Blue in this one. I do think the Giants pull it off. I think the Falcons are just that bad of a team.
You're not going tie? I'm surprised. Zach, I'm
maybe a tie. If that's the tie of the week, maybe.
Is that your pick right there, tie of the week, or are you still going with Big Blue?
No, I'm still gonna go with the Giants.
I'm gonna go Big Blue as well. Zach, this game shouldn't be on. What is it, Fox? Whatever it is, it shouldn't be on. But I got Kyle Pitts with 2 touchdowns.
We'll find out. Pitts yet to have a touchdown yet. No touchdowns in week 1 against the Eagles, but a couple last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bengals, Steelers. This is not going to be competitive. The offensive line for the Bengals is non-existent, and that defense of the Steelers, even without TJ Watt, is on a different level. Joe Burrow struggles against top-tier defenses. No, the offense will not be the best for Pittsburgh, but they don't need to be against the Bengals. Give me Steelers by double digits.
Zach, Big Ben got popped last week, and it wasn't pretty to watch. I actually kind of got a smile of it because I don't really like the Steelers that much. Zach, I'm going with the Bengals. Something about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and if they run the ball and keep Joe Burrow upright, TJ Watt, it might be questionable for this week. Zach, I like the Bengals in this one.
All right, Ravens, Lions in Detroit. You got to feel for the Lions, right? Who they play week 1? They played San Fran week 1. They played Green Bay week 2, and they're playing Baltimore week 3, and they're putting up good fights. I like this Detroit Lions team. I think they're coming a long way. Their O-line is one of the best in the league, by the way. If I was the Bengals, I'm really mad at myself for choosing Jamar Chase over the offensive lineman from Oregon. I think that was a huge mistake, and everybody said it at the time, so not too much of a shocker. But I'm going to take Baltimore. They're rolling. Bad loss to I almost said Oakland, Las Vegas, and I think that the last week, big win against Kansas City. So I'm going to go with big trust here.
Well, Zach, you know what they say, friendships are forever, right? I think that's what the saying is. That's why the Bengals picked Jamar Chase and not Penny Sewell. I'm going with big trust. Zach, Lamar Jackson's on a roll. He's on a revenge tour. And this Baltimore Ravens team might actually get a lot of momentum off that Kansas City win. That's huge. That's huge for them.
That they should after a crushing loss week 1. Jets, Broncos, a game that's still not exciting. The Broncos won it last year. The Broncos will win it again this year and rise to 3-0, assuming that Teddy Bridgewater doesn't turn the ball over. And that defense is pretty good. I think Zach Wilson will continue his struggles against them. I'm starting to get worried. I would start hitting the panic button if I'm New York, but again, time will still tell for Zach Wilson and the Jets.
Zach, I'm going to stop drinking coffee after this pick. I'm going with the Jets this weekend. Something tells me that Zach Wilson will have a better week than what he did last week. And Zach, if that's the case,
I would hope so. 3 interceptions and 4 pass attempts.
Zach, I'll tell you what. I will eat one of your pumpkin spice wings along with my Inferno things I have to eat as well if Zach Wilson has a good week. I'm just saying, and if not, if Zach Wilson, if he doesn't have a good week, I'll be upset because my stomach will be hurting.
It's almost like when I chose the Jets over the Raiders, and they should have won that game, but an all-out blitz on the final
Henry Ruggs, shout out to Henry Ruggs.
So close. And speaking of Henry Ruggs, in Vegas, Raiders, Dolphins, Jacoby Brissett starting, no question about this one. A team I was so high on in the offseason, just crushing right now. My dreams as a fan of the Dolphins, at least in the AFC perspective. But the Raiders will pull out a win against Miami.
It's a black hole in Vegas. That's what it really is, Zach. I'm rolling with the Raiders. And by the way, the question should now be, is Tua really that guy? Because there's a lot of question marks around him surrounding his health. That's the second major injury he has between the hip and the rib. I don't know.
Right, and his lack of production on the field, but he still has I think he's like 7-4 now as a starter. So still not a terrible record, but we'll see. Buccaneers, Rams. This is the game of the week. Literally, it's America's game of the week. Joe Buck and Trey have been on the call. But this is going to be a phenomenal game. I hope it's a shootout, but both teams have sneaky good defenses. Not sneaky good for the Rams. They have the best defense in the league. I don't know. And I'll tell you why. Because Antonio Brown's out with COVID. Mike Evans is owned by Jalen Ramsey. So I guess I'm choosing the Rams. I guess I'm choosing the Rams. I don't know. I feel like the Rams are going to pull this one out. It's in L.A., so I guess we can go with Rams against Buccaneers. Give me L.A.
Something about Matthew Stafford and Rams colors just really it just gives me a smile. It's like, especially him and Cooper Kupp just sitting there and airing it out all day long. It's like, I'm going with the Rams. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be America's game of the week for sure, Zach.
It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a fun game
to watch. Definitely.
It's going to be a really fun game to watch. Next game, another 425 game, Seahawks and Vikings. It's going to be a shootout. Seahawks coming off a crushing loss. The Vikings, back-to-back losses that really could have been wins. I think this week it tips in their favor. Give me the Vikings this week. I think Dalvin Cook gets his yards against the Seahawks, same way that Derrick Henry did it last week. So give me the Vikings for their first win of the year. Taking Seattle down to 1-2, a team that I am not high on this year, but Russ is going to cook the first half of the year. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, when Zach says he's not high on the team, that means they're going to go out and probably win the conference. Go back to
I'm usually pretty accurate, just not with Green Bay.
Not with Green Bay. Zach, I'm going with the Seahawks this week. It's going to be the reason because of Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins hasn't really done anything crazy this year. Last week was pretty good for Kirk Cousins. Unlucky ending for them, but Zach, the Seahawks are going to bounce back. If this
is a 37-yarder to win that game, it was just terrible.
The Seahawks are going to bounce back this week for sure. There's nobody in Minnesota's defense that can stop DK Metcalf.
Or hopefully Tyler Lockett, because he's been a savior in my fantasy so far. Packers, Niners on Sunday Night Football. History repeats itself with Aaron Rodgers. That is so true. They got obliterated in the regular season by the Niners 2 years ago. They got obliterated by them in the NFC Championship game. Packers got obliterated by the Buccaneers last year in the regular season. Obliterated by them in the NFC Championship game. San Fran by double digits. I'm going to say 42-31.
Did you not see what happened last year, Zach? Did you not see what happened last year? They went in the Green Bay Packers went into Santa Clara and destroyed the 49ers. Zach, I'm wrong with that bad man Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be a closer game. It's not going to be like it was last year. I'm going 31-28-ish. Right there.
Now, I will say, yes, 37-17 was the final score of that game last year that you said, but it was Nick Mullins who was starting. It was not Jimmy Garoppolo. It was not this team as healthy as they are.
Matchup's a matchup.
It doesn't matter. I'm going to take Green Bay losing this one, falling to 1-2. Let's go San Fran, a team that is continuing to rise. NFC West continues to be an ultimate powerhouse. So coming up after this, we've just went through all the NFL predictions as well as the Eagles ones. It is finally here after a year suspension due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Ryder Cup in Whistling Straits Golf Course in Sheboygan County, Wisconsin, just less than an hour south of Green Bay. It is 55 degrees. There is quarter zip and beanie weather. I will be acquiring a quarter zip this week with the U.S. team's Ryder Cup.
It's going to be 70.
Courtesy of a gift card that I got for graduation, so I'll be making good use of that. But we'll talk about predictions, picks, and more coming up after this. Gavin, anything else you wanted to say?
Real quick, Zach, it's going to be 70 all week, except for Friday. It's going to be 68. So there you go. There's your quarter zip. You got it.
Yeah, I'll have to find some times to wear it. Stay tuned.
Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this.
Let's break it down. For those who are relatively new in the golf world, I hope that it's last year. We've given you a little bit of interest as we covered the sport. Pretty much the Ryder Cup is this. It's what's called match play, which means that you don't win by strokes. You win by a hole. So if I shoot a 4 on a hole, Gavin shoots a 5, I get a point for that hole. And then the next hole, it resets. So how it works is there are 28 matches total. And it is over 3 days. It is foursomes, 4-ball, and individual. Foursomes is best ball. You play your ball pretty much. Whichever one of the 2 players has the best score on that hole gets a point. And then the winner of that entire match gets a point for their team. There's another one, which is alternate shot. I hit the tee shot. Gavin hits the alternate shot. And then I putt, and then he putts if needed. And then the final day on Sunday is singles matches where the best of the best play each other 1v1 in 18 holes of match play. Of course, if you win 10 holes, you win it because that's the majority. But bottom line is this, 28 competitions. If they tie at 14, the team that currently holds the Ryder Cup retains it. That is Team Europe, who won in 2018 in Padres. This time around is in the United States in Wisconsin. in the Midwest for the 5th or 6th consecutive time. Pretty exciting. Happens every 2 years. Again, last year due to COVID, they did not have it. With fans and all, they want to have them back. Big factors. So for those who are familiar with some of the golfers in the golf world, the United States team, Colin Morikawa, Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, all automatic qualifiers. And then the wild cards, Daniel Berger, Harris English, Tony Finau, Xander Schauffele, Scotty Scheffler, and Jordan Spieth. And then going over to the European team, Paul Casey, Matt Fitzpatrick, Tyrell Hatton, Tommy Fleetwood, Rory McIlroy, Victor Hovland, John Rahm, Lee Westwood, and Bernd Wiesenberger are the automatic qualifiers. And the 3 wild cards for that team are Sergio Garcia, Shane Lowry, and Ian Poulter. I would say the United States is the favorite. They have the stronger field, and I would expect them to win this week, maybe 15-13, 14.5, 13.5. That math even makes sense. But looking at it, the United States should win this week. It is their home. It is home course essentially, but this course definitely is more European style. It's more link style than a United States one. So Rory McIlroy, some of those guys used to that style, could take advantage of it. It's going to be a good week. I think it comes down to the last day. We could be seeing some 1v1 action between John Rahm and Justin Johnson could be thrown up there to go against him, or even some of the other hotter players like Patrick Cantlay could be out there going up against him. Xander Schauffele could also be out there as well. Justin Thomas, also another name to keep an eye on. So for this team, I think it's going to be an interesting week. They have predictions for who's going out tomorrow early. It looks like that Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth are going to be out there early, and Dustin Johnson and Colin Morikawa. Very strong teams. They really should be able to get it done. We're going to get tee times and more coming up. Hopefully tonight, I think 9 minutes from now, 5 o'clock is officially the entire release of everything. So that's how it's going to work. That's how what it looks like right now. The United States definitely appears to be the stronger team. Of course, number 1 in the world, John Rahm is on Team Europe. Number 2 and 3 in the world in Justin Thomas and Dustin Johnson. Team USA, it's going to be a good week. I think this is one of the more competitive years, but the U.S. is favored, so let's see if they can handle the pressure.
So they got one of the youngest teams the United States does, representing for the Ryder Cup. I think the age is around 30.
About a little bit younger than 30. Dustin Johnson at 34, maybe 37, I think, is the oldest player on the team, and he's still relatively young.
And let me tell you this, Zach.
37.
You guys know I'm a big Tiger Woods fan. All right, sadly, Tiger Woods not competing in this. I'm all in on Dustin Johnson. I just need that tee time, Zach, and I don't care if I'm in class or not. I'll be watching Dustin Johnson's every swing, Zach, every swing. Look, it's not been a great year for me in golf, Zach. Let's just go my recent picks.
It's a new season, though. It's a new season.
I get it's a new season, but Zach, I had a rough year. I had a rough year picking. I really did. But Zach, I'm excited for the Ryder Cup. I'm going to definitely be tuning in, and I'm definitely rolling with the United States on this one.
All right, we'll see. And finally, of course, the big storyline of the week, big hitter Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, 2 guys who have had quite the feuds over the last 2 or so years. It appears they've broken bread. They've been speaking. It's been entertaining to watch. They were talking on the range the other day, DeChambeau kind of turning to the crowd to rally them up as an indication of friendship between the two of them. Putting things aside for patriotism, I guess, Team USA here, it's been fun to watch. Between every similar to Super Bowl, where there's media days. Every single week there's media days, but the Masters, PGA Championship, the U.S. Open, the Open Championship, the 4 majors, and then Tour Championship, of course, and then the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup certainly is the best where you're able to really see personalities come out, really see what guys are made of. It's not just individual talents. At least the first 2 days, it's not. It's a lot of teamwork, and that's what's going to matter. That's what it's going to come down to at the end of the day. So we're going to find out what these guys are made of. We'll see who can pull out on top, and I'm rooting for Team USA.
I'm rooting for Team USA too, Zach. And listen, that feud was pretty fun for the past couple months. Listen to it. I mean, Zach, who would think guys in a million years, Zach, would you ever think a major, not only say major fight, but a fight or a little feud gets headlined in golf by a guy named Bryson and Brooke? I mean, you couldn't make that up. You couldn't make that up, Zach. I'm glad they figured it out. I'm glad they're making friends as of right now. I guess you could call it truce. I guess, Zach, because you represent America. So I don't want to call them friends. A friendly truce as of right now.
It's a good way to put it. We'll see how this week breaks down. It's going to be exciting. I mean, it's not going to happen, but it would be cool if Bryson DeChambeau was the first to the tee tomorrow and just ripped one right onto. It's a 345-yard carry to the green. He could do it. So maybe they'll do that. I don't know. But right now it's looking like Dustin Johnson, Colin Morikawa are going to be the first out against John Rahm and Sergio Garcia.
Can't wait to see.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it a lot. I mean, either way, of course, rooting for Team USA, but I mean, all these guys are so fun to watch. And,
I mean, John Rahm has been phenomenal in the past, I want to say, month and a half before the season ended. We heard his story with the whole COVID, comes back to win the next championship or
he came back and won the U.S. Open.
Won the U.S. Open. So, Zach, talk about up and down for him. So, I'm excited to see all these guys. Rory McIlroy still getting the job done when he does. Zach, both sides are stacked. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be a fun weekend. We got that. The WNBA playoffs start tonight as well. What a time to be alive in sports.
Ain't that right? So one more thing I did want to say. For those who don't know, Gavin pointed it out with the COVID thing. The Memorial Tournament, John Rahm was up by 6 strokes going into the last day, which is enough to win pretty much. There's no doubt in anyone's mind that you could shoot even par and win that final day. Getting knocked out with COVID, Patrick Cantlay was able to win that tournament, which thrust him forward in the FedEx Cup standings, ended up winning the whole thing. He ended up getting Player of the Year over John Rahm because of the whole COVID fiasco. If COVID didn't happen, Rahm easily would have won it because he would have won a second tournament on the year, won the U.S. Open, as well as would have won the Memorial versus Cantlay, who won the Memorial, won one more tournament, and then won the BMW and the Tour Championship. So perhaps on Sunday we could see John Rahm versus Patrick Cantlay. Wouldn't that be a fun one to watch? Of course, Team USA versus Team Europe in that case.
I would be rooting for John Rahm in that one because
I wish I could, but I'm Team USA for life. So
I mean, look, I'm Team USA too, but Zach, when you just think about
revenge, maybe some revenge.
Yeah, when you just think about it as a whole, Zach, me and you came on the show the very next day, and we were upset about the whole situation because Zach, golf is a kind of a non-contact sport. He could technically play it by himself, and to be up by that many and to just have it wiped away. And I want to say the next guy that was six or so strokes behind him to win, and then go on to win a couple other things and to win Player of the Year. When honestly, Zach, I'll come in and say, even though he won, I felt it should have been John Rahm's award to win.
Yeah, Rahm should have won Player of the Year.
That's why I say I get it's Team USA, but if you look in the storyline, if you love golf and you read between the lines, you're rooting for John Rahm against that one.
All right, we'll see how it works out. We'll keep you all updated next week. A lot to report on coming up next week here on the More Than Phillies Sports Network. We thank you all for joining us today. Atlanta Braves take an early lead, 3-0 on the Arizona Diamondbacks. So Phillies need to win. As of right now, I'm going to check the weather here before we go. See, we do everything on the show, Gavin, not just sports. We also do weather.
We do everything.
Just checking the weather as it pertains to sports because we have to see how the weather is looking in South Philadelphia right now.
I think it's going to be a go tonight. I think
it looks like it will be. It looks like the rain has cleared up, at least for now. Small cell coming later. But as of right now, it looks like the Phillies will start tonight, at least. Hopefully they can pull off the win. The last time it rained, Aaron Nola was lights out, so maybe he'll do it again, and hopefully that game doesn't get postponed.
Zach, he's been irrelevant. But Zach, I want to real quick since we're on the weather aspect.
And 92% humidity. Aaron Nola does well in humidity. But go ahead.
Look, finally, Zach, my last weather statement of the day for everybody is: yes, it's fall. It's that time of year, Zach. I don't really. It's cool. I don't really care because not that I don't care, but because it means fall means school was really in full effect and all that non-fun stuff. But for all my fashion and shoe lover people, that means we're getting close to Tim season, Zach, my favorite time of the year, and hoodies are coming back pretty soon. So Zach, I'm hyped for it. I'm gonna be walking around in Tim's and in a sweatshirt every day, basically.
That's what we like to see. Thank you, everybody, again for joining us on the More Than Phillies Sports Network. Great to be back with all of you today. And we'll see you all next week.
Have a good one, everybody. Stay safe.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos.